Hi everyone, my name is Christina and this is the Sheepishly Knitting podcast. Today I wanted to talk about my spring knitting plans. So to start, I have a mic with me today, so I hope the sound quality does reflect that. And yeah, this is just a mic I borrowed from my boyfriend. And I have my iPad with me with notes, so I don't forget anything. So I will be looking at that from time to time. So I will start by briefly talking about what I'm wearing. This is the Lucy blouse by Luisa Rehkopf, and this is my first ever knit garment. I knit this about 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, and um, I did a few modifications. I sized up a needle size just because of inexperience, so it is off gauge. I also knit it in a single strand of drops brushed alpaca silk instead of, I think it calls for 3 strands of mohair. And also I cropped it quite a bit. So, but I actually really like how it turned out. I wore this a lot, as you might be able to tell, because I think the drops brushed alpaca silk looks matted quite easily. So yeah, but I really like it, and I ripped the bind off at one point, so I recently just fixed this, so now I can wear it again. I think I will just start with talking about my winter plans and what I achieved and what I didn't achieve. So I will just keep this as short as possible. I wanted to finish my gal sweater before Christmas, and I achieved that. I will also insert pictures every now and then. I also did a dinosaur-inspired hat for my nephew or my boyfriend's nephew for Christmas. I also finished that on time. I used the Pearl Soho classic ribbed hat beanie as a guide, but I basically did different decreases anyway, so yeah. One thing I didn't finish is the self-drafted vest. I wanted to elongate the body a little bit, so I did that, but I didn't finish the ribbing or the button band after that, so this will go further into my spring knitting plans. I managed to finish the Haru vest for my boyfriend, but I finished it somewhere in January, also towards the later half. It was a lot of work, honestly. Um, but I managed to finish it. I I started my self-drafted pink sweater, but I had a few hiccups, so I didn't finish it yet. Um, I had to redo the collar, and also right now I started with the sleeves, but I picked up way too many stitches. They are way too wide, so I will have to redo this as well. Then I did finish my flower knot mittens, and I didn't start my anime scarf. I'm also contemplating if I want to do this or not. So yeah, this is everything I talked about in my winter knitting plans. I did finish 4 other projects that were not in my winter plans. I finished a pair of arched gusset mittens for my grandma. I also finished a baby sweater for my cousin who just became a dad, I think a week ago exactly. Um, and I also did like just a pair of house slippers and the Merry Mini Tree pattern with like yarn that I got as a hand-me-down. I think, let me count. So I achieved 4.5 things out of the 8 that I planned. I think that's an okay number. And I did have a few self-drafted plans, which take a little longer than like just following a pattern. Yeah, so if I'll continue with this rate of finished objects, I think I will be quite happy with the results at the end of the year. So for my spring plans, I pretty much follow the same exact thought as I did for the winter plans. I do have a little bit more yarn in stash than I would like, so I really want to use up what I have. and this is like the biggest reason for the patterns and for the projects that I want to cast on in spring. I do, however, have 4 works in progress that I want to finish for spring. One of them really isn't springy at all, but the other 3 are, so I really want to finish them this season. For my first pretty much wintry work in progress, I have the Fresno sweater Chunky by Knitonomy. This is a test knit I'm doing. This is my very first test knit and I'm very excited. I am knitting this in Drops Nepal in the color 4311 and I adore this color. It's so pretty. It's like this grayish purpley color and I think it's like the perfect color for this project. I didn't want to purchase any new yarn anyways, but yeah, because it's a test knit, I thought because this is a test knit, I really wanted and needed to hit gauge. So yeah, I just purchased the Drops Nepal and I am very happy that I did because I love how this texture looks in this color. I am about halfway with the front yoke part and then I will join in the round and do the sleeves and color and everything. So this is my first project I want and need to finish. The deadline is the 29th, I think, of March. So I have about a month left of about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks left. But I think I will manage pretty easily. I work about a skein a day. So yeah, this is the first project I want to finish. The second work in progress I really want to finish in spring and for spring is my self-drafted vest, which I talked about in my winter knitting plans as well. So as I said, I wanted to elongate the body, which I did. You can pretty clearly see where I joined or where I reknitted because this is cone yarn as well and this blooms so much after blocking, so it changes a lot. For this I only have to do like a couple more rows of the ribbing because I want the ribbing to be about like 2 to 3 centimeters, so not too tall. So a couple more rows of ribbing and then I will only have to do the button band. But the vest was knit on 3.5 millimeter needles and the ribbing I'm doing in 3 millimeter needles. So, and I have about like 440 stitches on here. So it does take quite a bit to finish one row, but I will just hang in there and I really want to finish this garment. So the third project I want to finish in spring are these self-drafted socks, ruffle socks. I looked up a free pattern with ruffles to just to have a guide how to do these because I've never done ruffles before. I started these socks sometime last year. I don't actually even remember, but because they are 100% cotton socks, I didn't bother to finish those in winter. So yeah, I really want to finish them now. Yeah, I did a ruffle, then I did a regular 1x1 rib for a few rounds just to have a better fit. And then I did a 3x1 broken rib stitch pattern and I did the like alternating slip stitch heel. And yeah, right now I'm just doing the gusset decreases and yeah, I hate working with cotton yarn. No, I hate doing like cotton socks on 2.25 millimeter needles, and I know that. But my feet get very warm easily, so I wanted socks that I could wear in like springtime and stuff. That's why I opted for cotton socks, but as you can see, I don't have a lot of mojo to knit on those, but I really want to finish these, especially also because I want to free my needles for, yeah, other sock projects. Also, I just realized my needle is bent. Anyways, I want to finish these as soon as possible and then probably never work on 100% cotton socks ever again. For my last work in progress, I really want to finish this helix bag. This is a pattern from the Rose Knitwear book, which I got for Christmas. I really wasn't planning to knit this bag anytime soon, but I have 2 cones of this t-shirt yarn, which I bought a knitting workshop basically for a one-time knitting workshop, and they required this yarn and like 10mm needles. My boyfriend and I took the workshop together, but we never finished the project because it was like a one-time workshop. And since then, for about almost 2 years, I had these 2 skeins lying around. This one and then another brown one. And I realized this would be perfect, more or less perfect for the helix bag. So I just casted it on. And this is working up quite slowly because the needle in combination with this yarn does hurt my hands a bit. But I tried to work like around a 2 before bed. I'm also not sure if this will work out actually because as you can see, it should be quite structured, but it is quite like a little lopsided, and I think it's probably because one, the yarn is really stretchy. It's like jersey yarn, and two, the needles might be a little small. I just hope I will finish this soon so I can wear it in spring and summer. And then I plan to, if this works out, I will probably do another one of this for my sister out of the brown yarn. These are all the works in progress I want to finish this spring, preferably as soon as possible. But now for like the exciting part, the new cast-ons, or like the new projects I want to do. As I said, most of those are based off of yarn, basically. But I do have quite concrete plans what I want to do with each of these yarns. So for the first one, this yarn is a cone yarn, as you can see. This is a mix of different fibers, but it does have like this I don't know how you call it, but like iridescent strand in there, mostly white and lavender, but it does have a few specks of like iridescent colorful bits. With this yarn, I decided I will probably knit in second blouse number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I just really love the fit of my first one, but my first one shrunk in the wash a little bit. Luckily, it only shrunk lengthwise, so I can just reknit or like add a little bit of length. But yeah, I wanted to knit another blouse number 1 by My Favorite Things Knitwear because the fit is just very nice. And I thought this would look very cute in this color. So yeah, this is my first plan for spring. My second plan is a little more, how do you say, more practical. I have this yarn. This is left from my first blouse number 1, so I do have a lot of it left. Actually, there's even more leftovers in here. And this is on 100% cotton yarn. And I also bought the Toaster Tee pattern by Rebecca Clow last year because I wanted to participate in the knit along, but my gauge just didn't work out and then other projects came around. So I have the pattern in my pattern library, and I really don't like having bought patterns that I never use. So I really want to use the pattern. I really want to use up more of this yarn. So I'll probably do the Toaster Tee out of this yarn. But I'm not quite sure if what kind of modifications I want to do. I actually really want to try the bust shaping that she includes in her pattern. So I maybe will do that, but otherwise I really like how the toaster tee looks striped. And I saw this one Ravelry project where she did like striped like textured stripes only. I know Rebecca Clow includes like the eyelet version of the t-shirt, but she did more like eyelets and garter stitch as like varied textured stripes, and I really loved how this looks. But I wouldn't want a textured striped t-shirt that's too fitted. I would prefer a looser one, so I will see whether I will do the textured loose fitting option or if I will include the bust darts. That is to be decided, but I'm pretty sure I will do the toaster tee in this yarn. For my next plan, I really want to finish at least 4 pairs of socks this year. And that's like one of the reasons I want to finish the white socks as soon as possible as well. And I have this sock yarn, which is the Mayflower Sock Yarn series in the color 3. And I really enjoyed the colors in here, but I struggled to find patterns for socks with variegated sock yarn because I don't really like doing stockinette socks. But like variegated yarn and textures can be a little difficult. But my thought was to knit this lava socks by Le Pole. And I saw a few samples that knitted with variegated yarn, and I actually really liked it. I think because the stitch pattern is still quite simple, the color variegation isn't too much on the eyes. Not 100% sure about the lava socks, but I really want to knit a pair of socks out of these. I think I'm quite occupied with these knitting plans. But if I manage to finish earlier, I'm counting like March, April, May as my spring months. So if I manage to finish earlier, I really want to get a head start on my summer knitting. So I have this yarn, which is 45% linen and 55% mulberry silk. This is like kind of a chainette yarn. And I want to knit probably the Sabai top by Susanne Müller out of this. This is like a kickstart into my summer plans. I have the blouse number 1, which shrunk in the wash, and Handmade by Florence is hosting a knit along in March to fix up your old knit. So this is another plan I really want to achieve. I really want to fix my blouse number 1 in March. So these are all of my spring knitting plans. I do have a few sewing plans as well. I don't sew a lot, but I really wanted to sew more this year. So if you're not interested in the sewing section, thank you for watching until here. But if you want to see my sewing plans as well, here they are. I have 3 projects I want to do. The first one is a basic white maxi skirt. They were quite popular the last few years, and I never found one that actually fit right. And this is such an easy project, so I thought this would be like the perfect project to get back into sewing. I say get back into sewing. I never sewed like I knit, but I do know the basics of sewing. I think this would be a perfect project to get a head start. I found this YouTube video where she explained how you would calculate your measurements for the skirt, and she also included a few different variants for like 2 tiers, 3 tiers, 1 tier, and everything. And I actually changed my mind, and I don't want to do a 3-tiered skirt anymore. I really want to do like the most basic white skirt, just a long 1-tiered skirt, I guess. But she did quite a big hem, which you could see because the fabric was a tiny bit see-through, and I really want to recreate this look. We do have a pair of old curtains that nobody wants anymore, so I will probably own, and they are, I think, a linen or cotton fabric, and it is quite thick, so it shouldn't be too see-through. But it is a little thicker, but still lightweight, so it shouldn't be too see-through. And yeah, this will be my first project. I hope I will be able to start it like this or next weekend. For my next sewing plan, it is a lot more fabric based. I have this plaid fabric, I guess. It's not quite a gingham. So I bought this fabric a few months ago, and I would really like to do like these Ghani blouse inspired, like these Ghani colored tops inspired blouse, but I don't think I have enough of fabric for this. This is only like 1 meter 20, so yeah, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do out of this. I'm thinking either I will just do a pair of shorts, maybe like these bow boxer shorts that were quite popular last year. On the other hand, I bought the slouchy bag pattern by, I think it's Face Studios on Instagram, and I really want to do this bag, so this would be another option, but I'm not too sure if I would like it out of this fabric. I would have to look. Yeah, but I really want to use this fabric because I really love it. Because it's not a lot, I'm not too sure what I want to do out of this. The last sewing plan is very loose. I have this beautiful fabric. I've had this for a few years now. Actually, my mom brought it for me. I don't actually know, maybe it was like a tablecloth or something like that, because it is like hemmed and everything. But I really love this fabric and really want to use it. It's upside down. So if I don't use the plaid fabric for the slouchy bag, I would also consider using this one for the slouchy bag. But it might be a little too feminine for a bag for my style. But yeah, I really want to use this fabric. Another thought I had was to do like a craft case, maybe like the craft case from Cool Stitches, to hold my needles, just because I would see this fabric a lot and I love it. So these are all of my plans I have for spring. I think they are a little ambitious, and especially considering that there will be a few projects that I didn't plan for in between. For example, I learned how to crochet 2 days ago, so I probably will also do more crochet in between as well. So these were all of my spring plans. Most of them were based off of stash yarns. So next time around, I hope I will be able to dive deeper into patterns, because I do have a few patterns that I really want to work up. But yeah, I wanted to prioritize working through my stash. If you watched this far, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you enjoyed, and let me know what your plans for spring are. I hope I will see you again in my next episode. Bye bye.